let's do this again. So for those of you who don't know me, just give you a brief introduction on why do I have a shit to say about DJing. I basically started at the age of 6 to record music on tape from the radio, and forced everybody in my class on my first class trip to listen to that, and obviously for some reason they enjoyed that, and that kind of stuck, and I think that is kind of my spark in where DJing started. So I've been tinkering around with this for almost 40 years now in general. However, I started playing with vinyl in '91, you know, just with the worst equipment you could get from the trash collection, because shit, I didn't have any money. And yeah, but it's also an important lesson. You don't need fancy tools for anything. This is a very good commodity, and all this tech is too, but to me the most important things about DJing is what you bring to the table, because I've seen people spin with like tapes and the craziest stuff, and it was a great set. So there's something to listen, to learn about, what you really need. It's not much. Later on I became beta tester and coal pair in some weird roles for Native Instruments, in the development of Traktor and Final Scratch, and made the official mixes for that thingy, and learned a lot of things of how not to do things in clubs with digital DJ setups. If you do not want to end the set all of a sudden abruptly at a club like Tresor, do not fiddle around with cables while somebody else is playing. Also note to Native Instruments, the first device they made was so horribly designed, you had to put it flat on a table. It was round, it had just the jacks on top. And this is like a disc you have to put somewhere, and totally there's no space for shit like that in any club, in any position. So yeah, fuck up included. Anyway, and then I've been just spinning for like 30 years now with vinyls and digital things. And yes, it's what I love doing the most, I guess. And I've been thinking about that a lot. And that's why I'm here today. To talk about how I end up playing you some really weird shit that is supposed to not work, but it works. And I would like to first give you my definition of what a DJ is, because I think it makes sense, because it's important. For me, DJing is not about the music, it's about people. So that's like the first misunderstanding people have if they see like these famous DJs on stage, and they are walking around. It's very nice if you are in the comfort zone to be in the 1% of the super successful people will come to you no matter what you do, but this is not the reality for people like me or Scam or whoever is playing here. It's you can do just build up your stuff and play your own music, but if you fail at reading the context, so if people don't buy tickets for you, it is very likely you have to deal with shit like that, which is very important. So it's not about the music, it's about the people. And to me, DJing is a leadership role. It's about inviting people to join you for spending their time, which means you are also in a responsible position, because you have to handle people. All of a sudden, there are people and they will dance, and if they do drugs, what you do is directly connected to how they feel and how you deplete them. A very nice lesson I've got very early in my club life. As the warm-up DJ, you come in, finally resident, and you're playing. So I brought all my terror tracks and started like really hard, which made the club owner and everybody come around like running, come down, easy, come down. And you do that a few times until they come and ask you not to play anymore. When you will eventually have learned the lesson. And that's a very good thing. So these are things I'm afraid we all have to learn. If you decide to become a DJ, you will fuck up like every area in life. This is just a story of fucking up and learning. So my definition of a DJ is a good DJ gives people what they want, and he or she will play music seamlessly, and a great DJ gives people what they didn't know they wanted. So it's about creating memorable moments. That's what you can do, and that's what I'm talking about, because I'm all in for making moments like last night and these things, and taking the stupid Bacardi thing and performing that with people. It's an invitation to make something, and then all of a sudden stuff happens. You can do a lot with music, so it's on your own shoulders to create these opportunities for people to join, because that's something that you can also do as a DJ, even in settings, especially in settings like this. What you do, people will listen to inevitably, and that's why grooving also works, because it's something you cannot not hear. And all of a sudden, after half an hour, it starts clicking, and that is kind of the magic of music. So for this, you have to bring a few things to the table to become a great DJ, I think. And to me, it's all about building confidence in your own decisions. By the way, if you have questions, raise your hand and answer. No, ask. Yeah, answer the question yourself. No, if you have a question, I'm open, because I feel like I'm rushing through this because there is so much to talk about. Anyway, ingredients in my book that result in confidence. So for one, as a DJ, it's a craft, right? You have to trust your own craftsmanship. Do I still have to beat match in 2021? Yes, totally, you have to. Couple of reasons. Computers suck, they fuck up, and then you are the one responsible for the fuck up, because nobody cares if the computer fucked up or if you did. So if you cannot beat match, you cannot help your future self to fix any kind of problem that is just going to occur at any point. So with vinyl, the fuck up is usually the bad system, the needle is skipping around, computers pick up, you press the button, nothing happens, shit like that happens, and then you need to be prepared. And one thing to be prepared is being able to beat match. It's just a very basic thing, and the only way to learn that is to actually practice it. It's very boring, and I suggest doing that for years and years, and up to the point where you can just do it by muscle memory, because that's really what's needed. You need the muscle memory to kick in when shit fails. You do not want to think in a situation that is already at the bar of multitasking. Right?
Question.
Yes.
About that. Do you need some sort of a baseline of hardware controller quality in order to do that?
Yeah, so JCO is asking if you need any tool to learn beat matching,
and
right?
What quality of tool?
Okay.
So, do you need one, and how good does it have to be?
You don't need anything. What you need is a set of two hands and obviously two devices to play music on and manipulate the tempo somehow. If you are putting a motorized thingy on your tape recorder that works, whatever you don't even have to do that. I used a turntable from the Garbage collection back then, which had like 4% pitch, just a very narrow range, and another turntable that didn't allow me to adjust pitch in any way whatsoever.
But that's more than just a computer and a mouse and a keyboard, right? That's something special you would recommend, right?
Okay, so the computer is already the luxury version, because you get DJ software for free, which comes with the opportunity to use pitch sliding and stuff. So that is already, to me, a luxury edition. And if you go out and buy a MIDI controller to just control these two values, that you are already there. Then you have 1,000% better setup than I did when I started, right? Because I needed to just stop vinyls as they play and keep stopping. But that's okay, because you want to train your brain. It's about the muscle memory. You need to condition your brain to separate what you hear on the right and what you hear on the left. That's like the very important thing. I've seen people train also doing this silly stuff where they wave their arms in one direction and the other in the opposite direction. So whatever you do to train your brains to do separate things, I think helps. It helps. And in the end, how do you become a DJ? There are so many courses. How do you become an artist? I think it works like this. You decide, I want to be a DJ, and then you start becoming one. You go out and then do it. And it's about bringing the hours in and do your crafts and attend the learning. That's like, there is no magic trick. Everybody who tries to sell you magic tricks that you can easily do, it's an idiot and asshole who doesn't know what he, she, it, or whatever is talking about, because you put in the hours. It is unfortunately like that, like everything in life, you put in the hours. If you want to become a great DJ, not just a good one, practice. So, and building confidence, back to that. So, crafts, beat matching. You need to build your own vocabulary of mixed transitions. There are very many DJs out there these days who will play like a very uniform set. Like every transition is the same, looks like guys playing, and you can see visual pattern come and go, yeah, right? And usually they do this, and then there's just a slow change from one take to another, and it's very boring, and all of a sudden you start falling asleep. You don't know why.
We stop for a short moment.
Mm-hmm.
We have an announcement here. Someone parked in Echo. The number plate is KLEFB888. Where you park?
At the end of the entrance.
So did you park in? Okay, so problem solved at this point. Thank you very much.
Is the pace okay, by the way, or am I too fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, confidence. Vocabulary of transitions. And I suggest the best way of learning and building that is to listen to DJ mixes and pay attention to how DJs transition their mixes and which effect that has. You can obviously change the pace. You can let a track flow into the other one for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. You can abruptly cut in, you can scratch, you can do so many things. You can create your own breaks on the way if you have a fancy digital tool like that.
Ronnie, can I make a short recommendation?
Yes.
So,
please.
What I used to suck, this is an extremely cheap Playmobil beginner's device, a Pioneer DJing Rego 4. It costs only 250 bucks, and it has this shit. So I learned to fail how to beat match on this extremely cheap device.
And that's a very great example. I mean, the DJ market exploded during the last 10 years, and you can get these things for cheap. There is no excuse to not buy anything used. I mean, there is even cheaper stuff. You can get like these very cheap things from Numa for 50 bucks, and it's really all you need. If you want to learn beat matching, you can do that with this, or your keyboard as well, because it works just as fine. If you assign pitch bend to plus minus for every deck individually, that should be all right as well.
Bill had a question.
So, Bill.
Only going to ask if it scans DJ table is soaking in the bittersweet tears of his youngest fans.
What?
You said you used it when you started off as a bad DJ. So is it soaked in your tears and the tears of your listeners from back then?
Okay, transitions, important. There are many different ones. You can find them out there, just listen to sets and ask yourself, like, what did the DJ do there? And how did he get from A to B? And did I see that coming? Was this a total surprise? How much does the track that is being introduced differ from the one that was playing, and how does the transition he has chosen cater to the energy of that? Because like I said, you're not managing music, you're managing the energy of people in the end. You need to take care of people. And that is a constant, trying to manage the energy, build an arc, like a story. And that also gets me to the next thing about confidence building is leadership skills. So you are inviting people to join you and spend time. That's like the most precious gift you can ask from anyone if they don't come to see you and pay you a ticket, right? You should be aware of that. It's like, do I want to do my own thing here and do I want to wank about my own stuff? Or do I want people to have a good time and connect to something, to just the moment? That's a very important theme for me, which requires empathy. Empathy is a very important skill, and I describe it as the ability in the context of DJing to connect to the present moment. Like, how are people there? What did they experience beforehand? Is this the opening of a club? Is this like the fourth day of, you see 2 o'clock right now, or is it for others of us the 8th day, right? This is like the really important stuff, and being able to anticipate what people will want you to do and how they will want to spend their time can lead to interesting experiments for you. So in the end, you want to build rapport between people as fast as you can. Like saying, I see you, I know you're here, I know you just want to sit at the bonfire and have a conversation, or I see you want to dance. You just started dancing, it wasn't enough, people were like more, they come out and are like, Ronnie, can you spin now? It would be very stupid for me to start playing a country and western set, right? Very often, they do not come to you and ask you anything. That is a very unfortunate point. So you have to do it on your own and figure out things. And you can do experiments. It's important because it's also part of the prep, and the part of the next thing is the taste in music.
Question.
Yes, please. Question?
What do you think about people going to the DJ and asking for a specific song?
It depends. So this is a question about requests, and can we postpone that to the segment I'm doing? It's a perfect fit. So taste in music.
One other question that's hopefully closer. You already said that people do not necessarily know what they want. That it's part of your job to have this manipulative talent or something.
Yeah.
Observing the people. So my question is, you have people dancing, and I would expect that people want more. So if you get into this dopamine shots, you make a transition that kind of raises intensity, and you can do this a few times probably. My question is, how do you gracefully step back with the intensity without everyone being disappointed and leaving the dance floor?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And that's where it all feeds into. I've been talking about confidence, right? You do it with confidence. You are the leader. You say, if you are like, I don't want to know, people will somehow respond to that. But if you put a smile on and sell it as a joke, it will be perceived as a joke. It's about you. And that's why the confidence bit really matters the most. I'm not able, and that's like the bottom line of why I'm talking about this and why all this feeds into confidence. If you are not confident in what you do, it will limit what you can achieve as a DJ. It just happens because you will struggle. The DJing offers, I don't know, 1 billion opportunities to struggle at any second. And as a DJ, you are very much aware of that, right? You constantly have to make decisions. Even if you don't make a decision, you are making a decision. So you cannot not make a decision while DJing. Yeah? Going to the toilet is a decision you need to make, which you need to prepare for. Right? Select a track that's at least long enough, or have somebody to keep playing. Anyway, taste in music was my fourth point. You can only play what you like or what's in your music collection, right? If you bring crates, you're limited to what you bring to the table. If you have the digital tool, that is a luxury problem because you can get as much music as you'd like. Why limit yourself? If you think about this setting, it's a perfect example of how a diverse taste in music can allow you to create more opportunity for yourself and for others to enjoy that time. So if I was only playing one set, like super hardcore stuff, it would need a lot of things beforehand to happen to make my set communicate at this specific point in time, right? I would have to have everything lined up perfectly. It would have to be the perfect spot in the timetable. I would need to be prepared. I would have to know that the context in which I'm playing has set up the energy level up to the point where I'm coming in to serve the climax, because what gets harder than hardcore, right? At the same time, people shouldn't be completely depleted in terms of energy. So there are a lot of factors, and also if the weather is too hot, people will just want to go outside, like yesterday. There are so many things coming together in this that you can anticipate, and that will also affect the way you will spin in the end, because confidence matters the most. So having a great variety and taste in music does directly influence the way what you can play. Having a very limited taste in music creates a very limited taste and opportunity, which you managed very. I was really pleasantly surprised about the huge variety of music you put in your set, because I totally didn't expect that.
Yeah, but it didn't work. Whenever
It worked.
people left the dance floor when I played the subpar part.
There is no correlation. You didn't do the questionnaire, right? I wouldn't. It seems obvious they did, and that's also a very important thing about becoming a DJ. If you fuck up, you can take it very personally, but you shouldn't. Well, unless you should. And I think there are two cases. You did your very best, and things just happened. I don't know, lightning struck, the tree is falling, people leave. It's not your problem. What can you do? If you come and you are being very ignorant about the needs of what people want, and you are just doing your own artistic thing, you have a problem. It's your problem as a DJ or as an artist in general. You get down here and do just something that doesn't fit. That means you already have to be a lack of empathy mode, which doesn't make you a very good fit for what you're doing. And maybe there are other reasons as well. And also, you will not have a good time, because playing a set that you feel doesn't fit puts you in a very awkward position. Don't do that. I'd rather skip and try to get the fuck out, which also is not a bad thing. I've done that as well. I left or refused to play, which is something that happened the first time for me after 25 years of doing this. But so it took a little while to neglect something.
What did happen when you refused to play?
I didn't play.
Yeah, but why did you, in this particular case?
I wasn't a good fit.
Okay.
I wasn't in the mood. I didn't feel confident about giving people a good time, because it was a metal guitar something, and I was like the oddball. It would have been an interesting experiment, but back at the time, this is like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I didn't have this huge variety of things in my collection either, right? I was much more dancing focused and not as much easy listening or spacing out after hour focused. That is something that occurred to me just recently in my DJ career, so during the last 7 years.
Do you prepare a playlist, and how much bigger than what you actually play is it?
Thank you very much, because that's the final part about building confidence is preparation. The way I see preparation, it's helping my future self as good as I can to do the boring tasks. My boring task, because I use Traktor, it is the software which is kind of the industry standard for DJing in using this thing. It's very similar to everything else. You have your own music library and you can use that in many ways. And for this to make sense, think about creative vinyls. So which kind of organization schemes can you use? You can use the position within the crate. You can have a crate for a specific taste, which can serve as a playlist. You have sleeve information, which translates to, well, color in the night and text. So these are the parameters which you can use to filter stuff. And if you are really any retentive, maybe someone of you already bought vinyl from the flea market, which had a handwritten note about the BPM. That's what a lot of people just do, which seemed awkward to me for a long time, but it's a very clever thing to do. It's just helping your future self out in a situation where you are under stress, because a lot of shit can happen. You're spinning your set, person comes out and drink goes somewhere over your setup, and the next 5 minutes you will be busy operating this unexpected fuck up. In that situation, you might be very, very grateful about having written the BPM on your vinyl, because it allows you to handle this shit and turn around and just skip through that. So it's a very useful pointer to how to use digital libraries, because they offer a lot of ways to do that. What I'm doing to prepare myself is, for one, I'm using the filters of the Traktor database very dynamically, because they allow for that. It's not a static system like a crate. You cannot just change the order of your crate magically and things will appear in the order that you need them when you need them, right? With digital tools, we can do that. We can sort by BPM, genre, artist, playlists, and whatever works for you. There is no universal system. I can only encourage you to try and find out what works for you, how granular you want it to be. Do not try to make it perfect. That's not going to work. If that's what's holding you back, not having the faintest idea of how to start, the answer is start doing that. Use it. And even if it just means when the next time, write down a post-it, next time you go out on a set and the post-it says, which filter could work now? In a situation where you stand there and struggle, thinking like, I don't find a track, I'm not confident. Which filter can I use? What do I want to play? Do I want to play like a track that's half the tempo of what's playing right now? Easy thing, right? Tempo, match, type in the tempo, or go back in the list to exactly half the tempo. It's a way of filtering dynamically according to the situation and what you want. What I do is I categorize music according to my own tagging system, using comments in Traktor. I try to be as specific as possible, but not using, it's emotional language, like how I feel about the music. I do not want to remember stuff. It has to be the first gut decision. If I create a very long and complicated sentence, which is funny, but I cannot memorize, it's not going to work. So what I'm using for text, for example, is light, heavy, beauty,
cheesy.
Empty, cheesy, stuff like floaty, groovy, housey, deep, acidic. If I have for example, there is this superb playlist on Spotify which is called Manfreda's Music Cabinet, which I urge you to check out. It's just a variety of 6,000 sounds, but this playlist has the curation of that is its own kind of playlist, and that gets back into the taste of music thing. This guy is very confident about everything I put into this playlist. It becomes the art. And to me, this playlist has its own sound, and I'm tagging that in my system as MMC to remind myself, because the playlist feels in a very specific way. It has a very tristesse, minimalistic, 70s, Cold War-esque, downer, I want to kill myself, but hey, I'd rather listen to this playlist instead because it has a lot of funny things. That is such a complex term for music that I can wrap up in the tag MMC, which I couldn't, how do I explain that otherwise? And alongside with the genre, new wave or dark wave or minimal wave and MMC, this makes sense in a very specific way, because I also have other minimal wave tracks, but they do not, they feel different, so they don't belong to the MMC tag.
So
Whatever
you
works
your
for
own emotional vocabulary that is like,
Yes.
so which works for you, it doesn't have to work for others. But,
Yes, you need to know, and that feeds back into the empathy. Like, you need to be able to translate what it is that I'm experiencing right now into a short term, as specific as possible. That's a real challenge, and it takes a lot of time. And I'm still adding new things and refining things every now and then. But it's totally worth it. And this is kind of the key to my sets that I'm playing at night. I wouldn't be able to do that without this system. It works for me. I'm leveraging the entity of what Traktor offers me to look into the collection from a different point of view at any point of time. And obviously, I have a very long span of sets in my back, experience in what works. For example, the Viprinet parties at the Cebit were kind of fantastic as a playground to try different things and see what works and what doesn't. Because you have an official setting on one hand, and on the other hand, every setting is an opportunity to make a rave. Unless it isn't. But
get the corporate suits to dance.
That's kind of, the thing is, and that's something you can only learn by experience, how people react. There is a fine line between annoying people and teasing them, yeah? That's why slapping also works in other contexts. It doesn't necessarily only hurt. It can also spark some kind of joy.
Fantastic, yeah.
But it's all the same. For me, it's exactly the same. And I've had my moment talking about music and sex already, which I do not want to repeat now again. We've had that, but to me it's all the same. As soon as you start doing things with people, the music is just the tool. But what you're creating as a DJ is communication, in one way or another. And that kind of brings me to the final point, the level of diversity in your music collection and the trust in your crafts and quality of preparation, plus empathy define what you can achieve as a DJ. It sounds very complicated, but these parts, and I've been thinking about this a very long time, and this is kind of my condensed ideas about DJing, about thinking about this for 30-something years right now. Having listened to a lot of these technical how to beat that, this is not about software. It has never been about software. It's not about beat matching in itself. It's the entire discussion about I'm so super vinyl and you're not a DJ because you're doing it with a computer. Yes, I've been part of that camp as well, and I've been there honestly because I felt like they are taking something away from me right now. Yes, what people cannot take away from you is what you bring to the table. It's your taste in music, it's the confidence from which you're playing. It's your own perspective on the context, what you want to give to people, what you're able to give to people, and what you're able to read from what people want. That is something this doesn't tell anyone, and that's why it doesn't matter. And that's kind of bar it, I guess, what I can tell you about DJing in the philosophical context. Maybe there are a few things that are actionable that I would like to add. Yes. One tool I've been using a lot, I'm naming this as active listening. It is, we can listen to music as a background thing, and as a DJ, if I want to learn, or as a mixer and producer as well, there is a way I can listen to music and create a dialogue, like what's going on? What am I hearing? What is the gist of this? How does it make me feel? What would I expect to happen now? What is the timing of this? In DJ sets you can do exactly the same thing. To, for example, think about how a DJ transitions from one track to another. DJ Surgeon, for example, is a genius at that, and I would totally recommend listening to his very hard techno sets from 10 years ago, because his variety of playing basically hard stomping techno and being kind of narrow in his selection, but creating the impression that there is always some kind of change and magic in his minimalism. It also boils down to his presentation and his variety of transitions as well, and how he manages the energy of the music, and how he also creates things with his transitions to take down speed. That is something you can dissect every time you listen to a set. You can just listen attentively and ask yourself a number of questions and find out, and how can I use this in my own set? Like, what's there to learn? How can I transfer that?
So studying other DJ sets and stealing all them good ideas is
not stealing.
Something you do?
It's not stealing. It's emulating, and this is where somebody earlier said, "Fake it till you make it." It's not a bad thing. It feels bad because we all suffer the imposteritis, I guess, to varying degrees, from severely shitty to I want to die right now. I think that is kind of the range of people where we are operating. And Felix has a question.
Yes. I would like to hear a little bit about this process when you start planning for a set, like on the vision, like this extremely insane mix of everything.
Okay, so that's a very good, it's a good thing, because I tend to forget a lot of things. But I would like to close my train of thought. Where was I? Yeah, I didn't do the ADHD meds today. It pays off. Okay. Assume I was done. So, when I'm coming here, I'm prepared. I have done my music, I put it into the collection, I have added my tags, I set the beat grid as well, because I don't need to do the beat grid thing, the beat matching. To me, sync is fine, right? I don't need to prove anyone that I can beat match. I can do that deliberately in like 5 seconds. Done. I know I'm able to manage that on the fly as I go along. That's just practice and muscle memory. So sync, it's all, a track is prepared when it has tags, when it's locked. It means there is a lock which says I have set the beat grid, it works. No lock, be where that beat grid doesn't work, which also comes into what Felix asked.
Sorry, I have a question in between that question.
Oh.
So I'm using virtual DJ, and in 90% of the cases it's wrong detecting the first beat, and the beat grid is off. Is there any external, I bought an external tool which is called Mixed in Key, which is supposed to correctly set the beat grid and put it into the MP3 tags, but that's typically due to the MP3 decoding, then it's also off. Can you recommend any software tool, or do it manually?
Okay, so it's a great question, and I would like to answer that is, how much do you trust it, and what is the key of what I'm talking about? It's confidence. If you are not confident in a tool that you're using, you don't use it, because this is a timely matter. In this situation, I want to have control over all the fuckers. You have gotten a taste of my level of what I think about ahead, right? And I do this because I want to be in control. I do dislike the idea of losing control.
But that didn't answer my question at all. Do you use some external software to do?
I use Tractor only, and I do not rely on the internal detection, because very often it fails as well. It cannot work if you think about it, because of the shit that goes on with face and music production and all this shit. You always have to line it, and I'm also using that. It's a process which takes me like, I don't know, 3 minutes per track to get it right and set it straight.
So you do it manually yourself?
I do it manually. I do check it manually, and that is kind of the preparation and the crafts. It's mise en place, right?
Unless it loses everything you've done once you transfer it to your laptop.
Yeah. So, question answer?
Yes.
So how do I prepare these, I say, special occasion sets? No, not panic. It starts with the context. I first make sure I have been planned. I have a time slot where I understand the expectations that come along with it. I know that I have been deliberately asked to play at this specific time. It doesn't feel random. I have been requested in a certain way. Like for revision example, Ronnie, can you please give us a set for Saturday night, the main spot, 1 hour, in the context of Corona, first year where we had to let go. It becomes vitally more important to me to deliver something that manages to fulfill the expectations people have, because I have a history of destroying parties, demo parties, and turn them into raves, right? And so how do I do that in the setting at home? What doesn't work is potentially the same rave thing in the same way. I don't have the time. I cannot see people. And then the guessing starts. So what do I want? And the best thing I can achieve is delivering a bag of surprises. Like just constantly breaking expectations is a great way to create jokes. If you listen to talks by many comedians and how they set up their jokes, you can also use that for DJing. It's just, you go into one direction and in the most stupid way, just leave. That can be very funny if you manage to transition that in the right way. So what I do then is I just start. I think about what do I want to say first. What is the first message that I want to send? And in that case, it is one that I found to be kind of unexpected for my sets, because I anticipated people to expect like starting with techno, and I have chosen only by 9 Inch Nails instead, which also was, I thought, a very good choice about the moment in time we all experienced. It was kind of my way, yeah, I see you, it's only me right now, which was kind of the subtext. But then it's just playing and going into the flow, and I have just played the same set for like 3 days and just tinkered around with it. I just played and explored what happened, and at some point I get an idea of which tracks want to be in there and which to not, and it's just a word. It's work. It's not art. I don't get down and just do it. It's work. It's deliberate action. It's planning. It's trying. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't fall right out of my sleeve. No, it doesn't do that. Yes, what helps me is doing this shit for 30-something years now. And this is, I'm confident that if you give me the time, I can deliver something exceptional, which I think I did in that case. But it takes the work it takes to create something very good. It doesn't fall out of nowhere. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. So, and it's very important for me to always, on my YouTube channel, to encourage people, yes, it's work. You have to attend and do your job. There is no easy way around that. You cannot acquire skills and experience by buying the right tool. It's an idea that is very prominent on the internet right now and on Instagram as well. Become a Java super coder in like 2 hours. Check. No, you don't become that in 2 hours, and not in 2 weeks,
And not with Java.
and not with Java potentially. And if you do, you have kind of achieved something very meaningful, maybe. You need to put down the mileage. If you want to run a marathon, nobody will do the running for you, and this is a marathon. You want to achieve anything, it's about bringing in the fucking work. And that's it. And I have rinsed and repeat the revision set for like, I don't know, 7 times or so until I had a playlist I was confident with. And yes, that was very planned in many parts, but with the freedom of just trying things. And oh yes, mistakes happened. I fucked up after the first half, which I really enjoyed so much and didn't want to record it again, that I decided to just keep that and cut a few things out because time was tight. It was edited. Oh, and then I recorded the second part and stitched them together, and JCO provided me some funny Evilbot things, and so that's that. I don't do magic. It's just work. It's just the result of work. And yeah, so practice. Very important for me as well, every now and then.
But is it fun?
Not always, no. It is very stressful.
Thanks for being honest about this.
As usual, the same stuff for these things apply to everything that you do on a demo party. The deadline for sending this in applies, and you're not done or halfway done, and then I need to deal with the stress as well. And then I get into procrastination, and something else is happening, and whatever the shit. And then it's not fun. It's fun getting closer, and the fun part is really seeing the reactions then on Twitch and having some kind of, I want to do it. I have a plan with this, and let's see if my idea clicks. And then it's the rewarding fun, as just as much as seeing a demo that works well. It's also a release to me.
How do you cope with
Alter,
the time
jetzt bin ich
So, Yogi has a question.
Yogi was fragen.
How do you deal with expectations of people? Do you at all, does it make sense at all? I mean, people usually expect, okay, it's 1 year or probably any demo stream DJ and it's gonna be great, but it's gonna be different. Do people expect that? Do you kind of expect that or prepare? Or do you just do what you think you do, just align to a bit to the occasion and that's it? Or do you try to cater to something you expect people to expect in a way?
So the question is if I'm catering towards people's expectations, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
It makes sense. Yes, I do, and no, I don't. It doesn't cause me stress as much anymore because I have gathered a lot of experience in doing this. DJing is probably the thing I've been doing the most in my life because, I have run a lot of marathons in that regard, and I trust my expertise and my experience. However, obviously there were times that I haven't had acquired this level, and then it becomes much more relevant what people expect. And that's also a very valuable pointer to what you still have to learn. It puts you kind of in your space.
I mean,
right?
if I understand you correctly, you're saying you should be confident to do what you think you should do or want to do, and then the expectation probably will adjust.
If you cannot be confident, your job is to be afraid and take good care and treat the situation seriously.
But you don't want to lose your own style over expectations.
You have your taste in music. That's
Okay.
more the question of trying. If you try hard, you're trying too hard. This is never a good idea. A try hard DJ set sucks, usually.
And maybe it's just the wrong audience. Right?
It can also be the wrong venue, the wrong place and time. It's not about you being wrong as a DJ. Maybe you're just not a good fit because somebody liked you so much they wanted to do you a favor. And the favor they created for you is to feel shitty and pity and stressed for a week. And yay, and now we all have to get through this, right? And you go home in a disgrace, and hopefully you learn to ask better questions next time. And there is no general rule. If you're not confident, you need to do whatever you need to do to become more confident. And this is playing more sets is also part of becoming more confident. This is kind of a meta process. You have the cat and the tail thing. At some point, as a goal, you might reach a point where you don't give as much of a fuck anymore. Like, to me it's fun, but still, every time I play the first track, I have thought about a number of things. I don't just stumble in here and play anything. I thought about that. Like, time, what did I hear, what do I feel, what do I want to say? There's deliberate thought involved, because I'm taking it seriously.
Final question, because you're running over time.
Oh!
Are you going to play a set? Do you have still a set prepared for Underground Conference which you haven't played?
I want to do the on the face thing as well, of course.
So there will be a set from you today?
If we find the time, yes.
After the demo compo?
Yes.
Okay.
Psychon is still on. Where is he? He wanted. Yes. Yeah, we will find a way.
Okay.
So. Yes, that was me bubbling around DJing in a semi-prepared manner. I wrote down a lot the last days, and yeah, I do prepare things. I don't want to be the guy who attends a gunfight with a knife. Usually a very bad idea. So, any last things? Good. Thank you very much. Seid ihr gut getrostet? Ja.